Yeah. What is a staff? If you've read anything on my website or my Facebook page, you'll see that this is something that is discussed quite often in respect of setting out a Roman geometric mosaic pattern. A staff is a short length of wood marked up in such a way which corresponds with a certain pattern in a Roman geometric mosaic. Now we know that the Romans used synopia, where they set out a pattern by painting onto wet cement, just rough guidelines, and also we know that they used etch marks onto the dry base and put down a small amount of cement, put the tesserae onto there, and then repeated the process. But what if you're doing a pattern like this double strand gouache pattern, and you have a large area to set it? Will you paint out your design? Will you etch out your design the whole way around the room? One possible way that they worked is by using a staff. This enables them to set out the mosaic without putting any drawings down on the baseboard. This is a method of work that was suggested to me by a former attendee of one of my workshops, Stephen Fitz, an experienced tiler, and also there have been some papers written by R.E.M.Moore about this as well. So, to explain how this works, double strand gouache pattern. Now, this staff here is marked up for the width. You can see from here to that mark there, this is the width of the pattern. I've broken that down, and as you can see, black, 3 lines of colour black. CT is the centre tesserae. That 11 tesserae is in fact the width of the pattern. As you can see, that corresponds there. Now, if you take the distance from the centre of the centre tesserae, the CT here, out to the side, so 5.5 tesserae, times that by 1.5, on this pattern you will get that distance. And if we place that down, you can see there on these longer marks, mark the position of these centre tesserae. So I have the width of the pattern, I have the position of these centre tesserae. That is all I need to be able to set the pattern. If we move this along, have this section of board here that I've marked to represent a section of floor. What you do is put down 2 strips of wood battening. You have them set the width of your pattern, so the width of the markings on your staff. On the side, using something like charcoal, you then just mark the positions of where the single white centre tesserae will be. So cement in all this area here between the 2 lengths of battening. Using the marks here, judging by eye where the centre of the area is, press in your white tesserae. Now, because you have been working at this for a long time, you will know how the pattern goes. I use this pen to represent setting the black tesserae line, and it will be coming down here at roughly a 45-degree line. It will hit the side at this position of the centre tesserae. Now I know the next line will curve around here and hit there. The next line will curve around and hit there. This allows me to finish off this line because I know that this is 5 tesserae away from here. If needs be, I can use my staff to check that distance. And here again we'll finish that. Up at the top, this is coming down, and it was vertical to the centre tesserae. Down at 45 degrees, it curls round there. Again, this is all 5 tesserae away from each other. Starting up here, 5 vertical to there, comes down 45 degrees, wraps around there, starts here, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away, vertical there, down. Now imagine that this was me setting the black tesserae. Once this is done, if we finish off here, then someone else can come along and just fill in with the lines of colour. Now, these lines, if you look at the original mosaics, they're never exact. They're never very precise. Now, if they had a pattern drawn out, they could have made that, but when you're doing it by eye, when you're working at speed, then you get this variance. By using hand cut tesserae, you are able to tighten up the tesserae, push them in, or using slightly larger ones, or what we call loosening, opening up the gaps, you're able to fill this space here. And on some of these guilloche patterns, you can see they'll actually put an extra line of tesserae in. They didn't seem to be that bothered about being that accurate. But you can see how, by using this, I've got the width of my pattern, I've got the position of the center tesserae, and that is all I need to be able to set out the black lines which create this pattern. The rest is just filling in.